Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first episode of the Cuttlers Bend's Proton Radz build challenge. I hope you're going to enjoy this one, guys. I had a lot of fun doing the build. It's still in progress, but I've got a fair way through it. And I thought today what I'd do is spend a bit of time just explaining what this challenge is all about, and then we may get into the build a little bit. So Proton Radz is a very good supporter of the channel, and he set a challenge for me last year to build at Cuttlers Bend. If you want to see that video, I will leave a link in the description. Also go and visit Proton Radz's channel and show him some love, because he's a good guy and he does some great builds. So Cuttlers Bend, if you don't know, you can see it on the map there, is close to Gunners Plaza on the bottom part of the map. And yeah, I'll show you the walk around that I've done in a minute, and I'll explain kind of why it's taken me so long to do this build, plus what my approach is going to be. So here we are at Sanctuary. We're trying to find Cuttlers Bend. It's way down there, like I said, right next to Gunners Plaza. So let's fast travel. So to build here, what I'm going to have to do is use the Workshop Anywhere or Conquest mod. I've chosen the Workshop Anywhere mod. It's the first time I've used it. And what I always do with a new settlement is I do exactly what I'm doing now, is I have a quick look around and see what the area looks like and what kind of building materials I can use. Now, wait there. I must warn you that move here. Head over there. Go there. Cuttlers Bend is an extremely dangerous place, and there's all manner of things that want to do you harm. Now, it took me quite a while to start this build, and there is a very good reason for that, and it's twofold. One of the reasons was the fact that I just had so many other things going on the channel that I just could not get to it. But more importantly, I didn't want to actually do a build quickly that wasn't going to look that good, or didn't have a great idea associated with it. Now, some of the rules that Proton Radz has set is that it needs to be a fairly how did I not get killed by that mine? I just noticed that then. It has to be a fairly scrappy build. It has to encompass the and you can see there's a whole lot of dead mirelurks lying everywhere. There's about 4 mirelurk kings or something down here that I had to kill. It has to encompass the bridge area there right in front of us. We're going to run back up there, plus the car park area. And it has to be a fairly scrappy build. The car park area being the kind of focus area. And so I had a long think about what I could potentially do here. What kind of theme that I wanted to go with, what kind of mods that I wanted to use, etc. So what I've come up with is that I'm going to leave all of this stuff here. I'm not going to touch it. It's going to stay, and I'm going to build around pretty much everything that's already here. Now, there's a few things that I do scrap, but not too much. And the kind of theme that I thought I would go with was a little settlement that has been thrown together for people that are just wandering around the Commonwealth, have come up against all these enemies and need a little place to rest, or be safe from all the people around here. So it's going to be a little community that has just sprung up, so it'll be very defensive, and there's going to be a lot of neat things that are going to that I'm going to build around the idea that it is just this little defensive settlement. So I would encourage you, if you have never used any of either the Conquest or the Workshop Anywhere mods give them a go. Maybe have a go at Cuttlers Bend. Try building here, or try building in a place that's not a normal settlement. It's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed working in a place that I've never built in before, and I think you're really going to love what we end up coming up with. There's Gunners Plaza there. So let's get into the build, first part of the build today, and see where it goes. Oh, and by the way, I won't be showing you every single thing I build, but I'll be showing you kind of the main parts of the build. So let's get into it. So here we go. We're going with our, as somebody put it, Brokeback Mountain character, our cowboy character. And the first thing that I had an idea to build, and I'd been looking a little bit on Pinterest for some ideas quite a while ago, and there was one particular build that a picture that actually took my eye, and I used this as an influence for this particular part of the build. Now, what I'm thinking here, so I'm just putting these ladders so I can do that will help me with the building process. Given that it was kind of railway type area, there is obviously a rail track there. What I'm going to do is build something that looks as though it could have been built by a rail company at some point, above the tracks here. And then what my idea was from there is that a lot of the stuff that needed to be kept guarded and safe will be up above here, and it will all make kind of sense once you see where we go with this. So one of the main things here is to try and get the height right so that you can get above the railway carriages here, and that looks as though it's pretty close there. Okay, so the influence is kind of an old rail yard building that we're going to put in here, which sits above the tracks, and I think you're going to really like this one. So to get up there, we're going to need steps, so we can do the building. We're not going to need them straight away, but put that one there and just drop that. This is something I've been using a lot lately to help me. And so you can see we've got a foundation up, sitting in here. Now look, those dogs are back. Remember, you saw in the introduction video that those dogs were roaming, and this is what I mean. You will get all manner of things that want to kind of do you harm here. During the first trip down here, I was attacked by super mutants, by ghouls, by Mirelurks and Mirelurk Kings, by rabid dogs and raiders, all back to back. It is an extremely active area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speed this up, because we're just putting another floor in and making this a little bit wider. I've left it in now. I think it's important for you to see kind of how the build went. So I did have this idea having see-through floors. They actually don't. I end up taking these out in the end. It was just an idea to have it look a little bit different. I had a lot of snapping issues with these, as you can see, and actually we end up taking them out anyway. But just trying different things, trying to make this look completely different to what I've done before, and try and push the boundaries of what we're doing here. This area too will be a area. What it is a very good defensive area. Gunners Plaza is completely opposite, so I wanted an area where I could defend the whole settlement from, and so this makes so much sense to do that. So we'll just pop that in. We've made the floor just a little bit wider, and as I've said a lot of times in the past, it's very important to get this area correct. So Next thing is just to pop a whole lot of walls in. Again, we're going to speed that process up because it's, you know, it's just walls. So main reason I've left it in, you'll see in a second, I'll come up with some special things that I want to do here, but also, you know, exclusively use the warehouse tab here and use some walls to my advantage. So this one here, yep, we'll put a window and vary the up. You can do how you can build this however you like. The one with the hole in it is going to be like a turret, so an area for defending and a turret protection area. So I'm going to put a turret in that gap there, and we end up also making a sniper nest up here to overlook Gunner's Plaza. So vary it up as you like. We will cut to the next step, and I'll just finish off putting the roof in. And I really wanted this to have a big abandoned warehouse feel. Now I don't even put a roof in that, I'll leave a gap, and they're the little nuances that actually sell a build. So you can see it's a massive structure up above here. So it has a lot of potential. I love these glass arches. I put them in a lot of my builds just to give it a little sense of airiness. And you can see it's the idea of this building is that it was obviously a building at some point that was utilized by the railroad and has now been abandoned. And the settlers have come in, they've seen that building and they've decided to utilize it for their purposes and build a whole community around it. So let's hop downstairs now. Now that's just sitting floating in mid-air, so we're going to have to put some level of support, but you can already see I think it blends in with the overall kind of railway theme. And so I had to figure out how to do some supports, and what I end up doing is I end up using the scaffolding here as a support mechanism and building these pillars. Now as I realised quite a bit later, I could have done this in a much easier way, but anyway, again, when you're doing new builds and you're trying out new ideas, you sort of have a set direction in your head, and then you've got to just try and use the materials that you have available to make it come to fruition. So use these as pillars and you'll see how this all works in a second. So these ladders, I know they keep getting in the way, but they were key for me to get up there. Now I do end up, you'll see in the final walkthrough, which I'll do today, is I end up changing where you enter this building up above, and I think the solution I come up with is much more viable and much more believable. So we'll just get these in and we'll start to put some cladding on. Now the warehouse walls should clip straight onto these pillars like that, and you shouldn't have too much of a drama. They onto the scaffolding, sorry. They should just clip nicely like that, and it's a big thick support. Now a couple of these supports actually clip through the railway carriages, but I don't mind that. I can live with that. It's like the trains crashed into the pillar. That it was here and the train crash happened afterwards. At least that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So these just clip into here like that, and in actual fact what I should have done is I didn't even need these scaffolding poles at all, and I think I end up taking them out anyway, because what I realised, because they're all warehouse pieces, they'll just snap to the floors above. But it did serve as a good kind of template for me to get the pillars in the right place and make them look right. So I'm going to show you a little bit of decoration so you kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to achieve here, and then we'll cut to the final tour. So you can see I've got a couple of areas here that are kind of open, and we use the sandbags here just to prop them up, and I'll show you how I kind of generally work with the decoration in this sense. We're going to use vanilla extensions. There's a number of mods that have these defensive sandbags in them for you to use. The biggest trauma I have with these is getting them the right way around, because I've had people kind of defending looking the wrong way at times. So there we go. They should, for me, they snap together. For you, you might just have to place them with a rug or something. So these floors do give me a little bit of a problem, but not too bad. So I think it's important for the start of this settlement that we have a good defensive, a very good defensive setup happening. Again, you can see I'm having to use place anywhere just to switch the collision off and get these into place. Once we've done that, we'll get the turrets out and get them placed. So generally if you've watched me for a while, you would have seen me do this before, but generally what I do is I will use the wooden boxes. So I'll get a few of those out first, just like that. Now this build, I have had a few issues lately with my mods. There's been some weird stuff going on with mods and the game freezing up. There was an update yesterday with Fallout 4 and hopefully it has fixed the issue. But what it meant was that I've had to rebuild some of this settlement, and especially up here. So it's been painful to say the least. So what I generally do is I'll put those, so put them down like that, and they should fit on these boxes fine. And as you can see, I'm looking around to adjust all of this stuff and make sure it works. Now what's happened here is these boxes, I need a wider box, so I need that one, because the footprint of these turrets would not fit on that other one. Basically what you do is you plop them on there like that, grab the box, and it will move that around. So there you go. Instantly the turret will just fit up there. So that's pretty much it, guys. We'll get to the final tour in a second, and I hope you enjoy what ends up happening up the top here. So I've got to be very careful what I show you and I don't show you, because I'm doing this tour quite a bit later. There's only one way to get into that building, and that's through this carriage here. And you can see I've put a set of stairs on here to get up here, and I've changed the configuration how you get up. Whoa, quick, you don't want to see that. This sat empty for quite a while until I figured out exactly what I wanted to put up here. So what I decided to do is, it's a defensive area, but also a lot of critical things need to be up here, away from access to anybody that wanders in or manages to get into the settlement. So put a little bit of an armory, what's on special, on the table. A little bit of an armory in here, and we'll go in here in a second. I think it's absolutely crucial that that's tucked away in a very heavily fortified and defensive area for the settlers. So weapons bench in here, and all manner of stock weapons and armor and all kinds of stuff in here. It looks pretty nice and secure. Hey. Just transition again. I don't know what it is with Dogmate. He keeps trying to get in, open this door. He likes that door for some reason. Transition, because I showed you a bit of the settlement I wasn't supposed to, so I cut that. See, he's opened the door again. He just loves opening this door. I'm going to make this a little clothing area. Still a lot of decoration to go up here. Unfortunately, I had a few issues with a couple of mods lately, and I had to do a bit of rebuilding before I done the tour. There is a camp station, clinic here, whatever you want to call it. Just pull it back and sit so you can see the overall look. So try to put all the kind of crucial things you're going to need up here. A couple more guard posts, and we have a big workshop in here so you can play with your power armor. modify any armor you need to, store guns, do all that good stuff that you need to in the top here, and it's nicely secure, out of the way, and hard to get to. So I hope you've enjoyed the first part of this build. I enjoyed doing this. It's a nice little sniper's perch to overlook Gunner's Plaza, so you can protect yourself here. Hope you enjoyed the build, guys. Cuttlers Bend Proton Radz challenge build. It is going to be a beauty. Thanks for watching, thanks for the support, and we will catch you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya!